My name is Vicky Wright and I am a mask maker and theatre and movement teacher. I read this amazing book called You're in a Fish by Neil Schumann. It's really studying how the layers of anatomy from evolution are still present in our body today. And this project is that. This is an amazing concoction, bringing a bit of mask, bringing a bit of science and paleontology, and bringing a bit of physical therapy, and then also bringing a little bit of theatre and movement. And it's this big, big stirring pot to explore what are the different layers of movement in our body that have developed over time.
I'm Jen. I'm now a specialist in animal flow fitness techniques based on quadrupedal movement, physicality, all body weight, calisthenic type exercises. In this, we're kind of going further back than all of that. So we're getting a lot more into movements without hands. So it's finding these different planes of movement, basically. So where a lot of animal flow is kind of forward-facing sagittal movement, all of a sudden, these animals that we're looking at, they're all kind of lateral movers, so things like fish, and obviously translating that into a scenario where you are not weightless, you're not supported by water, and you have certain limitations, that's pretty challenging as well.
As soon as we have kind of movement like that, those movements we just don't have in fish. Yeah, so getting that within the body, yeah, nice. And begin to explore frequencies, so going faster, going slower.
I think what is really interesting is the different backgrounds that everybody's come from. So you've got some, a dancer, you've got some physical theatre performers, you've got some aerial circus artists, you've got people who are trained in theatre or musical theatre, and so you've got all these backgrounds and all these different bodies. And so we all bring something different to the mask. So you use these larval masks and we focus on the shape and the movement and the qualities of this creature. And then when you add on this more realistic mask, it really brings it to the next level.
My name is Crystal Zilbert. I'm a dancer, and I'm absolutely passionate about finding the original movement of our body. We do develop such habits in our bodies that I'm fascinated to see if there is a core movement that we're all walking around with, that we've just habitualized on top.
So we're in the mask making studio over in Make Space, and this is where I make the masks from. One of the main things has been trying to make the masks as accurate as possible, because it's that information, it's that the dimensions of the animals that really hold the information behind the movement. I started working with scientists and getting three-dimensional reconstructions of the skulls, creating this clay form of the skull that I can then add the external musculature to, and then also kind of create the mask from. Cool. So yeah, here's the cast of this one here, which will be the larval of Proconsul. Some of these animals are tiny, like Morganucodon is about 10 centimeters long, and then Tiktaalik is around 2 meters. So it's these huge variances of size, but in reality, we're needing to have this on a human head. So I proportion it up, make sure that the head's going to fit underneath it, and then create the animal from there.
So masks, as I understand it, are these tools of self-discovery, tools of storytelling, obviously, but storytelling as a means of understanding. I mean, what they do physically, what they are physically, is they bring out. So we put them over our faces, and we lose ourselves.
Like, explore, this is a new experience. So yeah.
What's unique about these masks is that they, in each case, through research, they've brought the presences of these now extinct species into the room, and it's palpable and tangible, and mysterious and bizarre to feel something that we know existed, mapped into being and imitated.
So with these masks, we've got 5 today. They map from an ancient fish, which is called Eusthenopteron, all the way through to Lucy, which is a hominid. So we've got that broad period of time, and from there, it's just cherry-picked a few species along the way that are at key transitions.
So I think it's fascinating because you look at the different elements of what we're exploring. So you've got the masks themselves and the physical creation of these masks, combined with the movement of these creatures that we find through exploring the mask. And then you've got the evolution and the creatures themselves and the kind of the scientific side. Integrating all these 3 elements together is really interesting. And so you could have people from all walks of life, people of all interests, all come into the same room and all have something to give and something to take.
My name is Christine Janis. I was a professor of biology for over 30 years at Brown University in America, thinking about how to explain to people what animals were like. It's been something I've done a lot of, so that's, I think, how I can be useful here. So yeah, so left of the neck. If you can think about your fingers being longer somehow, and again, lifting the foot a little higher, lifting the knee a little higher, because having to clear those long toes from the ground. I think that science is seen as dull by many people, and then if it's not seen as dull, it's seen as like being, well, how can we possibly know that we can't know that it's all made up? And this is sort of some way of combining the fantasy. You know, it's not as it's informed artistic stuff that may make something more appealing and more interesting than just pure science.
With this project, because there's a scientific purpose driving it, emphasis is on precision of movement, on an objective study of how these creatures would have moved, so that we can inform ourselves and better represent the presences, the realities, obviously the imagined realities, but the realities of these creatures. The physicality of a mask and the expertise of some of the people we have here means that we can experience and bring the presence of a creature into the room.
I feel like everyone's really interested in exploring their roots and what it means to be part of a community and also what it means to be from a race. And I think in this time, exploring things like that and ideas like that is really important. Smashing down this ideology of separation and boundaries. This is another reason why evolution is really inspiring, because it just inspires me to see the connections that we all have with one another, and that is super healthy.